like to change the subject, and I would like to know if Planned Parenthood were to come open up an office in Moscow, would you support it?
I very much would support that.
The answer offline. Thank you.
Okay. I guess you should repeat your answer.
I say I very much would support that.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't know what other information you'd like about that, but I think it's an organization that does a great deal to help women with their reproductive issues, and they do way more good than they ever will harm. I support the organization.
All right. That was Jim Boland, and now Catherine Bonzo.
The question had to do with whether or not any organization, this is a medical organization, and it deals with women's health issues, and women's health issues are not strictly only about producing a child or not. There are many other health issues related to a woman that Planned Parenthood takes care of. So this is a much, much larger issue, and they're another medical facility that would be very utilized in our community. Especially, we have a great deal of people that cannot pay all their bills, and there's sliding scales, and there's all kinds of different ways that you can get help through Planned Parenthood. So I think it is one of another option that's available for many people.
All right. That was Catherine Bonzo. The phone number is 892-9200. We'll be here until about 7:30. We'll start doing closing statements around maybe 7:25 or so. So if you want to call in a question for our city council candidates, once again, we have Catherine Bonzo and Jim Boland in the studios, and the other two candidates are Dan Carskellen and John Freeland. People will vote for up to 3. And there's 3 open seats on the 6-seat city council. And then there's 3 other council members that have 2 years left in their terms, as does Mayor Bill Lambert. So looks like we've got a call here. So this question will go to Catherine Bonzo first. KRFP, you are on the air. All right. Well, that didn't come through very well. So we'll ask this for Catherine Bonzo. Opinions on the ongoing feasibility studies. We're looking for your opinion on ongoing feasibility studies looking at the possibility of a reservoir on Moscow Mountain to augment the city's water needs, which are now mostly served by the 2 declining aquifers under the city.
The awareness of people about water is grown a lot. One of the things that struck me as really important when I was on city council in Troy was the founding fathers in that particular town put a 6.4 million gallon reservoir up on the mountain, and then at the time purchased the trees in the area so that it would provide the watershed for that reservoir. So they were thinking about taking care of the city, and then they used gravity. It was gravity fed to the slow sand filter plants and things into town. They also had wells there too, and the wells were rather deep. I think that information regarding the depth of the aquifers and all that kind of stuff is still quite nebulous now. The concern really has to do with conservation. So there's two things that need to take place. We have conservation that the city is promoting for citizens, and then I think looking at the feasibility of a reservoir makes sense.
Okay, that was Catherine Bonzo, and now Jim Boland.
Alternative water sources are something we need to look at. We can't really make any decisions about that until the Palouse Basin aquifer adjudication is complete, and that should take place over the next couple of years. So we don't really know what everybody's water rights are at this point, so we can't really make a decision about whether we're going to forestall water from flowing downstream or not. The biggest thing we can do right now is come up with better ways to reuse the water that we pump. We could probably stop the decline in the aquifers if we just used all the water we pump more than once. And I think there's a number of different ways we can do that and can implement that without a huge expense over the next couple of years.
All right, that was Jim Boland, and you're tuned to KRFP, phone number 892-9200. Questions for the candidates for City Council. Don't have a call at the moment, no flashing lights. So let's go to Jim Boland first. What's your opinion on the Urban Renewal Agency's handling of what seems to be a lucrative commercial lot that it owns at West 6th and South Jackson Streets. I understand the city is spending some of its own money as well as federal EPA grant money on brownfield mediation on that lot before they sell it to the designated purchaser.
I'm not
So
sure
what's your opinion on the Urban Renewal Agency's handling of that lot?
Oh, I think it's been handled quite well. The lot needs to be cleaned up. There's going to have to be some dirt removed that's contaminated. There's going to have to be test wells on the water, the shallow groundwater there. Maybe those are a little bit excessive in in terms of what might really be needed for something that's just going to be paved. But a number of things are going on in that corner that I think are going to be very beneficial. They're going to put a turn lane in there onto 95 from 6th Street so that traffic doesn't face it. You don't have an ongoing facing situation of people going east and west there. That site will be cleaned up, and there'll be an independent business on that corner, which should be good for tying in the university with the downtown area.
All right, that was Jim Boland, and now to Catherine Bonzo.
I agree with everything that Jim was saying, too. And what I really think is valuable about this agency is the city was being proactive and progressive in trying to address something that had been not going anywhere for a long time. And it doesn't mean that they'll always be involved, but it means that the impetus was there to do something. And by creating the energy and doing some things and moving it forward, now there's attention on it. And the connection between the university and the city is part of the conversation again. And that's a very positive conversation for our community.
All right, that was Catherine Bonzo, and yeah, just for informational purposes, the Legacy Crossing Urban Renewal District is one of 2 urban renewal districts in the city, and under state law, the Urban Renewal District can collect taxes on any increase in value in property on the district and use it for infrastructure to develop it. And sometimes when this is presented, it's presented as a way of addressing urban blight and or just dealing with areas that are underdeveloped or maybe polluted and so forth. So the Urban Renewal District out on the Troy Highway is about to close, and the Urban Renewal District Legacy Crossing is focused on 6th and Jackson Street. And sort of interesting thing is when it was created, there are boundaries that go a lot further, I think all the way to 3rd Street and into downtown and up the Troy Highway a little bit. So all the other properties that aren't really part of the focus of the Urban Renewal District are included in that, which might be controversial.